Okay, so in this video, I'm going to cover the top 9 mistakes that prevent page ranking and reduce your conversions once a visitor lands on your page. And most of these things can actually really skyrocket your SEO costs. So what I would do is I would go to the bottom of this page if you haven't done that already and do an SEO audit on your own website. Some of the things here apply to, are audit related and some are not, but at the end of the day, you have to address these issues if you want your particular website the way it is right now to really improve in its performance. So one of the primary mistakes that are made typically is that you're trying to rank for more than 3 to 4 closely related keywords per page. And let me just quickly show you what I mean by that. I just pulled up an example here. This happens to be a site that I just randomly picked. It's a beautiful site, remodeling specialist in Texas. So this pretty well applies universally, as you're going to discover. So when you look at services here, and I picked the remodeling company specifically to show you quickly what I mean. So here are services. So you've got hardwood flooring, you've got general contractor, you've got drywall, you've got tiling, kitchen remodeling, bathroom remodeling, full house remodel, room addition, plumbing contractor, carpet cleaning, electrical, etc., etc., etc. So essentially, you cannot rank a website for all of this at the same time. It's just not going to happen. And if you look back at the previous videos, then in the other training, you're going to see that companies like HomeAdvisor, they create a page for every primary keyword and create a page for every single city for that primary keyword. And that's why it's so easy to rank absolutely everywhere, and your SEO costs drop through the floor. It's just a humongous amount of work, and that's the problem that we solved, which you're going to discover as we go through the training. So I'm just putting all the pieces together because there's a lot of stuff you can fix on your own website. So this particular company here is a remodeling contractor, so that's their focus. So I presume that they're going after remodeling primarily in the various cities, but they don't appear to have pages built out either. So the point is that you would need to separate out your business and typically going after your highest value service that you're offering, and you have to focus your content on and your pages around that. And the other issue is, as I teach you in a training, is not having a page for every city and town for that valuable keyword. So you have to be hyper focused and hyper specialized here in terms of what kind of business you want, because that's exactly what Google demands in terms of what's on this page. What are you offering? What am I ranking you for? If on one page you're talking about tiles and windows and everything, or HVAC or landscaping, or you're offering all these various services, then Google is not going to know what exactly they should be ranking you for on in their system. So not having so you need a page. So let's just quickly look at that as to what I mean by that. So we're going to look at one of our sites basically that we create in terms of coming out of the machine. And when we look at the service area here, this is just it's just an example. It happens to be in the Windows market, really specifically focused on window replacement. That's the primary keyword in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 variations, long tail, whatever, but everything is around window replacement. So both Google and the person landing on the page knows that this is all about window replacement and it's within their particular area. So here we have approximately, I don't know, it's got to be a couple of hundred pages basically here. Specifically focused on window replacement in the area. So in the DFW area in this case. Same thing applies no matter what service you are providing. The other issue, which is extremely important, and this is why I recommend you do the audit PDQ, is page load speed. If your page load speed is under 90%, you're losing a lot of business and you're definitely paying too much for SEO. So let me just give you a quick example here in terms of page load speeds. We have here, I took this audit, which you're going to get for your site at the bottom of this page for free, is for coming out of our lead generation system that we have developed over the last 5 years. We have a desktop score of 100. We have a mobile score of 96. Now, since 80% of searches for local services are done on mobile, if you're not in the green, then you're losing an awful lot of business, and you don't know it because you're not getting it. And page load speed, you're going to lose it for two reasons. Number one, because Google is not going to rank a mobile page that doesn't load fast. It's not good business for them because they're also trying to, you know, serve their customer, so to speak, i.e., you the searcher. So if it's not going to load fast, they're not going to rank it. Second reason is conversion. If you get past, basically, I'm going to show you in terms of like a minute, 1.2 to 1.5 seconds in load speed, pretty well you're toast. So I took one of our sites here that I was just showing you, and I can see the performance grade is 96, which means the content performance grade, it's 96% great. So you should be checking this. This is done on pingdomtools.pingdom.com. Check your own site. The page size has to be small, so you have to make sure that you reduce the size of everything on your page. You can see it's, let me just go back there, it's 443 kilobytes. The load time is 319 milliseconds, which is basically about a third of a second. And that is really, really important. These are extremely important metrics because if you have a website and you want it to get business for you, then you really have to pay attention to this stuff. And here we have, you can check yours as well here, gtmetrics.com. Site performance is 100%. The structure is also extremely important. The way your site is structured, from a linking perspective internally, how the whole thing is built out. And here the load time is just over half a second, 570 milliseconds. And I did this test so that it is done even from outside the country. It loads extremely fast. And let's see what else we have here. The overall score for your SEO has to be in the 90 percentile range. It's unlikely you'll get it to 100 for a number of reasons, which you'll see when you go through this. But basically, the more problems you have on your website, you're just paying money for nothing, basically. So keep an eye on all of this stuff because it can make a whole humongous amount of difference. Just in our testing phase alone, we've delivered 7,600 leads. Now, actually, we're now probably up over 8,000 leads already in terms of, just through the testing process. So let's see what else we got here. Too many moving images. That's another issue. There's a lot of bling. Bling slows the page down and it creates a lot of shift. So when you look at your SEO report, you're going to see that the more moving parts you have, the slower your page becomes. And in many cases, it actually can tend to even frustrate the web page visitor because they're there for a very specific reason. So the moving stuff is generally not advised. And I just mentioned technical errors, which is essentially poor on-page SEO. Poor linking structure, which I also talked about in terms of the quality of how the whole web page is put together. The other issue is not having enough content. Google loves content. They're looking for, if you really want to rank your page, then you have to have between 12 and 1,500 words per page, and you've got to have all of these pages built out. So that's basically a couple of novels of content to get built out. Again, that is what we do in lead generation technology. So when you're looking at the content, let's just sort of scoot down here a bit here. You can see there's a fair amount of content here all the way down. So Google loves content, and then it becomes extremely clear that this particular page is about, in this particular case, window replacement. And whatever it is that you are focused on, a lot of content is required. So it's absolutely clear to Google in terms of not just content that's available for it to spider, but in terms of authority for that particular web page. So let's see what else we have here. Not enough content. Another issue which is very, very often overlooked, and this goes directly to conversion, it's not answering the top 5 questions in the first 5 seconds that searchers want answers for. So when you're going to a particular website and you're looking for a service, then you typically have 5 questions in your mind for which you need answers for, like literally within probably 5 seconds. Actually, I think it's about 4.6 seconds before you get a bounce and they just go. And one major reason for that is, well, two major reasons. One of them is that the information is not readily available on that one particular page to answer those top 5 questions. The second reason is that in order for them to get the answers that they're looking for, they have to make clicks. So they have to find specific services or sub-services or go to a specific, to get more information or read more. That people don't like to do that because it takes time. So your bounce rate goes up. And essentially, with every click that you force someone to make, whether it's to contact you, to find a phone number, or find an email, or find a form, or find a specific service, or whatever, there's a whole bunch of metrics here that needs to be aligned because every click is going to lose you business, basically roughly 10%. And here's a minor thing, which is actually a major thing. The font size is too small, so when you create your page, make sure that the page is optimized separately for desktop and for mobile, because you don't need a mobile app because they're a giant pain in the tuchus and they're very difficult to manage, and unless you're in e-commerce and you're selling products, it makes no sense. Just make sure it's optimized separately for desktop and for mobile. So that's it on this little tidbit here. Get that audit done and start fixing this stuff up on your website, your own website, because that alone is going to give you really, really good uptick in terms of your ranking and your conversions. All right, see you in the next one.